Today I want to share with you what it is that's been known to us to be the IHOP pancake recipe. And the reason why is because it's becoming more and more of a tradition in our family that Dad gets up early on a Saturday or a Sunday morning and makes pancakes and sausage and eggs. And so I wanted to share with you what I've been able to do to not modify the recipe as far as the ingredients, but how to make pancakes fluffy. Now, one more thing I will add. I'm doubling up my recipe, so all of my ingredients are doubled. So when I tell you what I'm doing in the video, it will be doubled up. To start off with, I've already cracked my eggs into the large container. Now make sure you do this. Crack your eggs into the largest bowl that you have. I've put my 5 cups of confectioner's flour in my next smallest container. And now we're going to add the dry ingredients to this container. Now set aside your sugar. Matter of fact, take that sugar and go ahead and put it in with your eggs. You have 1 teaspoon of salt that goes in your dry ingredients mixture. You have 1 teaspoon of baking soda that goes in with your dry ingredients. And you have 3 teaspoons of baking powder that also goes in with your dry ingredients. Now this is where the trick really comes in. I like to put my sugar and my eggs together. And after putting my sugar and my eggs together, beat it with a wire whisk. And I like to use the handheld mixer because I can really get it to fluff up. And then once I get that to fluff up, I add my milk. Notice how after beating this for a while, it's become very fluffy and filled with air. And the reason why we do this is it helps the pancakes to fluff up when they're on the griddle. I could continue to beat this for a while, but I want to get these pancakes made. Add the milk, add the buttermilk and set it aside. Add the oil. Now you can see how fluffy this is even with the milk added. Let's go ahead and add 1 teaspoon, or a half a teaspoon rather, a half a teaspoon of vanilla. Just adds a good little sweet flavor. Blend it all together. Mix in your dry ingredients. I like to use a hand whisk for this, and the reason why is because if you mix it in too much, you'll find that your pancake batter will become thin. You want it to be a very thick, pasty texture. You don't want it to be runny. And you want to leave it just a little bit lumpy. After mixing this in, you don't want to mix it anymore, and you want to let it set. You want this batter to set between 5 and 10 minutes. And the reason why we do this is it gives the ammonia time to break down within the batter and time to create air bubbles, and you'll notice that it will rise and become fluffy. Now, if you'll see how fluffy and thick this stuff is, and that you can't hardly get it to dump out of the pan. This is how we want it to look. Very yeasty and full of energy and full of fluff and air. And I fill it up almost all of the way, wipe the bottom off, and dump it on the griddle. I might also note that I've preheated my griddle to 375 degrees. If you don't have a way to measure the temperature on your griddle, take a drop of water and toss it across put a drop of water on your fingers and drop it on the griddle, and if it bubbles up and sizzles and bubbles away, then your griddle is right at the right temperature. Now you'll notice that the air bubbles are starting to come to the top, and if I let it set here any longer, you would see that they would start to pop. I just put my spatula under the bottom and checked, and they're ready to be flipped right now. Notice how good and fluffy these pancakes are. They're so full of life and of energy, it just makes you want to eat. You can't wait. One more additional quick tip that I want to add: when you're cooking for a large number of people, in my case I have 4 of us in our family, and we all want to sit down at the table and eat our pancakes at the same time, grab a 9x13 and throw it in the microwave. And then take your pile of pancakes and set them in the microwave in the 9x13. And in doing that, you'll notice that the pancakes will stay warm for an extended period of time, and it'll give you enough time to finish up the batch of pancakes so that you can all sit down around the table together.
If you found this video to be helpful, informative, or otherwise entertaining, don't forget to subscribe. And remember to smile for a stranger today. You'll both be glad you did.